all of a sudden I was coughing. I said, wow, change. I haven't coughed all day, so how come I'm coughing? And I look to my right side, there's a sensor right there. And I look at the sensor, it's a lot of old ashes. So after all these years of inhaling the incense, I'm discovering that even after the incense is burned, the ashes that are left behind could be toxic to you. So someone helped me remove the ashtray, and immediately the air became lighter. So be careful. For you at home who are devoted and like to make offerings of incense to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and so forth, or your gods, or your spirits, I recommend that you offer it and then you bring them outside, because you don't want to inhale that stuff. Okay, nowadays they use so much chemicals, it's not worth it. You cannot tell anymore. Okay, so that's all. That's my discovery today. And so for you Sanghas here at our temples, it's best we offer the incense quickly and take it out. Okay, don't leave it inside even the sensors. It's not worth it. Okay. All right. I don't want you to develop allergies to all these chemicals. All right. How is everyone today? We have a question. I hope that the person who patiently waited last time is still around and would care to share with us her question. But I see 5 fingers at Conk. Go ahead, Conk. Is there any reason why you don't turn the lights on, or is it as bright? Oh yeah, you have a projector, that's why. Go ahead.
안녕하세요. 처음 뵙겠습니다. 저는 명상을 한 지 한 10일밖에 안 됐는데요. 이틀 전부터 몸에 진동이 너무 많이 와서 결과부자도 처음 해봤고요. 근데 진동이 뭐 옆으로 왔다 위로 왔다 막 머리가 막 흔들렸다 팔이 흔들렸다 그러니까 결과부자한 이 자세도 흐트러지고 전혀 몰입을 할 수가 없습니다. 그래서 이 진동이 왜 오는 것이며 이게 언제까지 이렇게 계속되는 건지 처음에는 진동을 하면서 좀 시원하다는 느낌도 받았지만 한 3일 한 진동을 하다 보니까 오히려 더 힘이 들더라고요. 땀도 많이 나고 몸에서 열이 너무 많이 나니까 제가 이래도 되는 건가 하는 의구심이 들어서 이렇게 여쭙게 되었습니다. 이상입니다.
Hi, Master. This is my first time starting to meditate. I have a question about meditation. It's been only for 10 days. And what happened was 2 days ago, what happened is while I'm sitting for 10 days for meditation, I start to feel that my body was shaking. My body was shaking left and right. My head was shaking. My arms are shaking. I could not concentrate anymore. So I was wondering, why am I shaking? And also, how long this shakiness will continue? At first, when I feel this shaking, I felt fresh. But about 3 days after, continue to shake, I was starting to sweating and start to feel the fever or heat. and then I became tired. So would you explain about this situation? Is it okay? My body is shaking.
How long was it you started shaking? How long did you have to meditate before you started shaking? Every sit.
한 5일째부터 아니야. 한 3일 전부터 진동이 시작됐고요. 3일 전이라는 그게 몇 번째? 일곱 번째겠죠. 7번째인가 6번째 정도 될 것 같고요. 어저께가 딱 10일이었고 오늘이 11일째거든요. 그래서 한 7번째 정도 되는 것 같아요. 네, 처음부터 흔들리는 게 아니라 한 30분, 40분 지나면 지금 한 3일째, 4일째인가? 조금씩 처음엔 흔들렸어요. 다리부터. 그러더니 이제 점점 더 심해지는 것 같아서, 예. 네. 40분, 처음부터는 아니에요. 한 30분, 대략 한 30분 지나면서부터 조금씩 흔들리면서 한 40분 되면 마구마구 흔들리죠. 네. 네, 감사합니다.
So yesterday was 10th day, and today's 11th day. And what happened was, it started from 6th or 7th day of this sitting. It doesn't shake right away. It shakes about 30 to 40 minutes after sitting. At first, it shakes slowly only on the legs, but after 40 minutes, it starts to shake vigorously.
Okay, those of you who are teaching Chan meditation, you have any ideas? Master Z, it's your student. It's not our fault. What did you teach her? Is it Sinan's fault? Someone taught her something. It wasn't us here in the U.S.
We have YongHua Sunim. She's demonstrating how she's shaking over there. So it's a good example for the answer. So she's been doing with us for years. So look at the screen. So,
But Chung-Ho Sunim is from the Korean training system. It's not our fault. She's the product of your training, Conquer's Chan training. What happened? We never have problems like that, do we? Did we? Huh? Anyone? See, Master Z is learning to beat around the bush. Very good. Huh? What happened? When I started meditation at my master's temples, after a year or so, I started shaking too. So it seems to be a Chinese thing, you know. And so, and then recently, at Way Mountain Temple, we have 2 sisters who meditate with us. One is a nun, one is not a nun. And they both shake like crazy. The sister nun shakes at the point where she hits her head against the statues and have the big bump on her head. So, and then along the way, we also had a lot of people, a lot of people who shake hands. One particular person in Australia who shook so hard that she spins out 360 degrees. Okay? So I am afraid to tell you that we have a lot of crazy people at our who learn Chan meditation. And the funny thing is that I shook, and then I asked my senior Dharma brothers, my senior monks who are supposed to train me. I asked them, I'm shaking. I started shaking only my legs, my right legs. And so I asked this senior monk who's been a member of my Shishinho's Sangha for, at the time, over 20 years. He said, I don't know. So that's the answer that most people would give you. I don't know. And they really don't. And then let me tell you, the worst news is that after 6 years of meditating Master Shenhua, the Wei-Yang style of Chan training, Chan meditation, I started shaking so bad as well. Every single day, sometimes for hours. And then it lasted for about 3 years, every single day. And then it disappeared. And you said something that is very commonplace. People, of course, we are all scared, we are all worried. But the one thing that Jesus said that's you need to pay attention to. She said that when she shook, her head cleared up. She felt lighter, right? At first. So the head feels better, and that's my experience too. You let the shaking occur naturally. In Chinese, Master Hsuan calls it the quaking ignorance, 无明症. Okay. You want to send Sarah the Chinese characters, 无明症, 震动的震. Okay. So they say it's a quaking of ignorance. But it's typical of the Chinese. They are so poetic, so abstract, that I don't think they understand what it means anymore. Their own Chan meditation practitioners or teachers don't understand it anymore. But it's true. It's called Wu Ming Zhen. And that's the clue I'm willing to give you today, because I'm not prepared to explain to you why, like you would like me to tell you. I know why, okay? But it's for the teachers. I will teach them. When I am ready to retire, I will teach them, explain to them, my disciples who will take over why. And there is a very, very easy way to get rid of it, but I'm not going to teach you, any of you either, because the shaking is very, very good for you, okay? With you in particular, you shook, and then your head cleared up. It's a very good thing right there. When you meditate, okay, one of the advantages of Chan meditation, it clears up your head, meaning that immediately you're able to see things more clearly, so that you can solve problems a lot better. Far better when your head is clear. Okay, so when we meditate, naturally it clears our head, and sometimes get heavy and so forth. Eventually it clears up. Okay, and when it clears up, there's a sign right there that your head is faster and it functions better. You become a better problem solver, which is the common denominator with all the Chan practitioners. You develop Chan skills. As you improve, you become a better problem solver. Your head is clearer. All right? So you see, is to reassure you that the shaking there is very beneficial. You don't need to worry about it. Okay. Now, for Chung Ho Sunim, that's different. It's slightly different. Look at her. I cannot assure you, guarantee you, it's a good thing what she's doing. But again, it's a natural thing. Even for her case, it's quite different from yours. But it's don't be alarmed. Don't suppress it. Let it happen. And it's unfortunately, for many people who don't understand the process, they're worried, they're scared, and they would criticize her and judge her. And that's unfortunate. There's no need for that. And that shaking too can be dealt with differently immediately as well. But if we do that, then Chung Ho Sinim will never learn. Okay? So here's a common thing about life. You have a problem. You want us to fix it for you? We probably can't. But if we do, you never learn. So my personal preference is that I like to teach you how to eventually solve your problems. So for example, my two disciples, the two sisters, they're very close. And we used to lock them up during a chanchi in a crazy people room, we call it. Lots of people were shaking like crazy. And but eventually they stopped. Okay. And so this is to reassure you, it's a good thing. You don't worry about it. Even in Chung Ho Sunim's case, it's nothing to worry about. Eventually, if she hangs in there, eventually she will be able to get help to resolve. In her case, she needs help to resolve it. In your case, in particular, it's called a Wu Ming Zhen. That's different. You eventually will be able to get rid of it as you improve. Okay? So the quick answer is, don't worry, it's a good thing, it's a great thing. You give us more details, that's excellent, okay? You said you sweated and your head became heavier, and so forth. That's also a good thing, that's also a natural thing. Let me give you a clue. Again, I'm not going to teach you why, and I'm not going to teach you how to immediately, on the spot, make it stop. It's that, because once you understand why, okay, if you understand the reason why, you can make it stop just like that. However, I prefer you let it shake naturally because it's more fun for us. No, it's not funny to you? Why do you think we're doing this? We got to have a little bit of fun somewhere. We're not like Master Z there. He can go through life and not ever smile all day, and he's perfectly happy. Because to him, everything is empty. Right, Master Z? Ask him. What do you want? He says, I don't know. What's important to you? Nothing. Am I correct, Master Z? He says, why? What makes you so excited about what?
I couldn't hear well, Master.
I'm sorry, what did he say? Repeat that.
Yeah, I couldn't hear well.
You spent so much money in your audio-video system and you couldn't hear well? Fire the audio-video person. Wait. That's Xian Kung, right? Don't fire her. We don't have anyone left. Xian Nun is here. Okay. So, where were we? So anyway, the quaking there, the shaking, is a natural evolution for you, and it will help you improve quicker than otherwise. Okay, I refer to if you have the knowledge, you will stop immediately. That's called sudden teaching. Okay, sudden Dharma, which I'm not willing to teach you yet. Okay, it's for the teachers. It's not for you. Okay, we prefer to make you go through the heart, learn it the hard way, because you learn a lot more. When it's hard, you need to rack your brains and figure out and patiently endure it. That's how you learn. Okay, we learn more from facing problems than from our success. If you are successful, there's nothing for you to learn. You don't need to change. But when you fail, and our Chan meditation is about failure, we put you in a position where you eventually will fail. If you hang in there and you confront your failure, you learn and become a better person. Life becomes much more interesting. And can I share with you that the more you understand Chan, the more wonderful life becomes. I'll tell you a funny thing. Today at lunch, we are here in the US. We were talking about some beautiful, beautiful statues. And the old monk here, the one in charge of Northern California, he got so excited. And because he also appreciates beautiful, beautiful things. Isn't it wonderful? And that's what you will find, all of you will find, that after all these failures, after all these challenges, and you will open your heart, open your mind, and makes life much more interesting. I am still doing it because it's fascinating. That's my fun, is to discover new things and appreciate life more. You know, I hear stories from you about your family, about your troubles, about your successes. I find it fascinating. I find that life is so interesting, so beautiful, so wonderful. Okay? And eventually, when you boys and girls reach a certain level, then I can explain to you why they're shaking and why it's so simple to get rid of it. And that's why it's so important to encourage them to go through it, to endure it. It's a good thing, it's a natural evolution of their practice, their progress. All right, any other questions? Take advantage of it. When once I stop teaching, you won't be able to have the chance to ask questions anymore. Like I never had the chance to ask any questions. Yes, Red.
Kính chào thầy. Hello. Yes. Thank you. Does Chan help with the memory? Like when we get older, our memory is not as good as when we are young. So does Chan help for the memory at all? That's my question.
Good question. Help. Never had this problem before. What do you think? Why do we lose our memory? I'm no neurologist, but is because I think that our channels up there are being blocked, yes? Especially you have diseases like Alzheimer's and so forth, they actually are blocked. Actually, they part of your gray matter dies, and these neurons network actually they shrink, they become smaller. Okay, so in general, physically speaking, you lose memory because the brain doesn't work as well anymore, and it doesn't work anymore because of the blockages up there. Yes? Okay, so in general, that's general terms. You don't need to be a doctor to understand that principle. Or there's some cases where a person's brains are removed because of the diseases. And the doctors found out that those people who survived, who went through those conditions, the brains rerouted itself, right? You heard all those, right? It's very interesting facts, okay? Why did I mention those? It has something to do with chant, okay? When you practice chant, your chi builds up in your navel. You cannot see my navel? Navel around your navel area, your dandian, okay? The Buddhist dandian is your navel area. And the chi builds up right there, and then as it builds up, it starts traversing, it starts going up. The main channel here, okay? You have a channel, a column of chi that rises. Think of your will as you fill up the base of a vase that has a long tube going up. As you fill it up, the liquid keeps rising and rising and rising, okay? And that's what happens to the chi. As it fills up, your chi rises. So when the chi fills up, you clear up your stomach area, and as it rises, you clear up the lungs area, and so forth, and vocal cords, and so forth. Somebody had some problems with vocal cords, and so forth. And if this lady keeps on meditating and improve, the vocal cords will get better naturally. Okay, and then it rises up to here, and you clear up your sinuses. I have sinuses that cannot be cleared. That's how I'm going to die eventually. This is something that beyond my own capacity to heal myself. Okay, so we all have weaknesses. And so it rises up to your brains, and it clears your brains. And that's what happened to that lady who shook. As she shook, the physical shaking with her legs and so forth actually amplifies the chi rising. So that's why it rose quicker. And her head felt lighter, felt clearer, and that's because the head cleared up. The blockages in her head, the chi blockages in her head were cleared up. So she felt lighter, and her mind was faster. And that's what happens. When you improve, you go to the next level of samadhi, your chi rises to your head and will clear up these blockages so that your head, your nervous system, your nerve system right there, the network, actually expands. It has more branches, if you will. More, how do you call that? Come on, you neurologists, huh? Yeah, more channels. The neurons can have more channels. That's what happens when you improve, by the way. When you improve, here's what happens in your brain, your gray matter. And the gray matter, whatever that thing is, whatever that part of your brains, actually, as you improve to the next level of samadhi, we keep on harping, have been harping about you improving your level of samadhis, because when you improve to the next level, actually the network of those of the neurons where they send the signals actually expands. It has more channels. And that's why your mind functions faster, Okay, you perceive faster. You're more sensitive to your ears, to your nose and your taste and so forth. It's a natural thing because you're able to process more information than before. Okay, so versus when we age, that network decreases. It gets blocked. That's why we get sick. Alzheimer's is they found out that those plaques, they have plaques in the brains, and they block these neurons network, and it keeps them growing quickly, and that's why people lose their memory. And for us who practice Chan, since if you the way you practice the way we teach you, with the emphasis on trying to improve, okay, then as you improve, again, you go back to the model, you improve, the neural network will expand. So your memory actually, at least your memory will not deteriorate as quickly as otherwise, number one. Number two, if you improve a lot, for example, you go through, for example, a leap process instead of just gradual. Okay, like the Hinayana meditation, we teach you gradually. For us, sometimes we don't do gradual, sometimes we do a leap. Okay, it's a different process. With that leap right there, actually, you have a reversal, and you have a drastic change, a drastic improvement in your memory. So the question is, in general, your Chan practice will help you, number one, slow down your memory loss. Number two, if you work hard and you're really serious about it, you can actually reverse it. Okay. In fact, I found that after all these years, my memory actually gets better, gets sharper. Okay, and so Chan can help with the memory loss problems in general because of that principle. Okay, the clearing of the blockages in your neural network in your brains, if you will. Okay. Okay, you're welcome. Go ahead, Way Mountain.
Master, there's a question from Kim Hwang Yan, and she has a question about wisdom. So, Master, I asked last week about 2 weeks ago that I asked about the question sitting 20 minutes at a time and for all day and then add up to so many hours, or just sit one long hours. And then you advised for me to sit longer than 1 hour because I was able to sit for 1 hour. So recently I was able to successfully sit for 1.5 hours. And I also listen to your Dharma talk when it's possible. So I realized that this is planting seeds by sitting a long seat and then also listening your Dharma talk. It's about having wisdom and also being awakened. But the question that I have is this two a way of cultivating, sitting long and also listening to the Dharma talk. Wisdom, is that opens just automatically? And is it some kind of result, coming from some kind of result? And number three, or I just continue to sit long and then also listen to your Dharma talk, and then eventually I'll gain some wisdom. That's my first question.
First question has 3 questions.
Sorry, Master. First part of 3 questions, and she has another question after this.
But the first part has 3 questions.
Yes.
Okay. So it's actually, there's 5
Sorry.
questions. 5 questions, not 3 questions.
You're absolutely right. Sorry.
You Koreans are so sneaky. Just kidding. Okay, and what were the 3 questions again? My memory.
Sorry.
Long questions? I can't remember. She just asked me about memory loss, and I claim I have no memory loss, but mine is so bad when you give me long questions. How embarrassing.
May I repeat one more time, Master?
Yeah, don't explain too much, just ask the questions.
Her question
It's very
is
simple. You give me the
first,
short questions, I can address them right away. You give a long story, I can't remember.
she's been doing 2 type of cultivation. Number 1, sitting long, and at the same time listening to your Dharma talk. She has 3 questions. First of all, is the wisdom naturally obtaining,
Okay. Number 2,
or is it coming from some kind of result?
is that a first question or second question?
That's the second question. First
same
question was,
question.
is it naturally happening? Second question is it coming from some kind of result? Number 3, otherwise, doing 2 type of cultivation, and eventually I will gain some kind of wisdom.
What are the 2 kinds of cultivation? Could you?
Sitting long and listening to your Dharma talk.
That's 2.
Those 2 type of cultivation, she's doing it.
Honey, in English, when you say "and," it's 1, it's not 2. Just kidding. Oh, good Lord. The questions gets harder and harder. You think that this is these newcomers, you think the questions are simple to explain, but they're not. Okay. I'm very happy to hear that you buy into my proposal to you. Don't waste time when you meditate. There's one goal: improve. Don't settle for anything less, because we don't want to waste our times doing something that's unbeneficial to us. And in particular, if you're going to spend time meditating anyway, why not make the best out of it? Okay? So time meditation to me is to improve. We shoot for improvement, because improvement is fun, improvement is rewarding, improvement will make you happier, improvement makes your wife happier, your husband happier, and so forth. So there's so many wonderful benefits that will occur naturally, so many that we don't bother selling them to you. We let you discover, and actually we make it harder for you so that you can improve even quicker. The harder it is, the quicker you improve. That's my attitude. Okay, even the Wei-Yang style, you look at all the patriarchs, the authentic patriarchs. They have a very demanding and grueling schedule. Okay, and so, but they are the professionals, we know. So anyway, improve. And how do you improve? So it's a very good question. You improve because you don't think too much. You just, we boil it down to a very simple process for you, because we don't need you to understand too much. It's about a recipe. You follow it and the good things will happen, like a recipe for cooking. Okay? Once you have a master chef teach you, a master chef understands what to do to create his work of art, then you follow the recipe. If the master chef is good enough, you should be able to produce the same thing. Right? Same thing. Wei-Yang style. We boil everything down to a recipe for you, to the point where You don't need to think. You don't need to understand too much. You're doing the right thing. Just meditate, ask questions. After listening to Dharma talks and so forth, not just any Dharma talks, listen to the ones that are from the people who have wisdom. Don't listen to junk. I'm now very blunt nowadays. I don't have time to beat around the bush anymore. Okay? I'll be blunt with you. Don't waste time listening to junk stuff. Listen to the great teachers. Listen to those who have a track record of producing disciples. In Chan, we cannot fake it. The role of a Chan teachers is to produce talents. Can I put it that way for you? Otherwise, a Chan teacher is wasting his or her time. Think about it. We tell you not to waste your time, and yet we waste our time. That's no good. We tell you that when you meditate, don't waste your time. And yet, when we teach you meditation, we can waste our time. Then it's no good, okay? So we can't waste our time either. So the Chan teachers, when you look at the record of the Chan teachers, the history of the Chinese Chan, I don't know much, honestly, about Indian Chan. Okay, have no exposure whatsoever. But the Chinese Chan, I'm thoroughly impressed. There's so many great teachers, including the last one I know, Master YongHua. Not the current one, the previous one is extraordinary individual. So you look at these Chan teachers, and not all of them are the same. For example, I don't like the fifth Chinese patriarch. I keep on talking about it nowadays. I'm more blunt than before. Sixth patriarch, I love him. I idolize him. This first American patriarch, I like him. I really adore him. Think the world of him. And so there are a lot of great teachers, and you see a connection. The ones that are great, considered to be great by the Chinese and by the people in the know, are the ones that produce eminent disciples. Okay, the disciples are excellent. Whereas even the other Chan patriarchs, when they don't produce excellent disciples like the fifth patriarch, don't bother listening to him. I'm that blunt, okay? If he can't produce disciples, he's no good. His job is not really to train people. He's supposed to be doing something else, okay? So anyway, so that's why you don't need, because if the fifth patriarch is supposed to do something else, so that's why you don't need to listen to his Chan teachings. Am I making sense? It's a waste of time to listen to his Chan teachings because he's not going to teach you. His teachings are not going to help you improve. So you're doing the right thing again by listening to the Dharma, the good Dharma from the people who produce disciples already, excellent disciples already, okay? And we know, it's a track record, these disciples are known. Like Sheng Xiu is a very low-level disciple of Master Fifth Patriarch. It's ridiculous. Okay, it's a shame. So you listen to Dharma, and that's very good. And I strongly encourage you to listen as much as you can, not just the Chinese instruction, but also Master YongHua, for example. You can listen to his Dharma talks. Chan instructions is in everything at their level. Everything, everywhere, for everyone. Okay, so listen to that. So you run out. I used to be stupid. I used to listen to only 40 tapes of his Chan instructions in English over and over again. I must have listened to at least each one of them a few hundred times. Okay. No, I was so stupid. No one ever told me. Just listen, and that's it. Don't try to understand. Okay, just listen, and then listen more of the same thing or other things. And what matters is who you listen to. not what you listen to. Okay, that's the tip. So you listen to Dharma, that's very good. And that process right there, the Dharma that you listen to from the great teachers like Master YongHua, Master Huay Nung, and so forth, or the Buddhists and so forth, you meditate, you listen to Dharma like that, naturally your wisdom would unfold when you make progress. When you jump, the wisdom increases. If you don't, your wisdom will expand horizontally. So yes, it's wonderful. Then you appreciate more of life. Okay, but as you improve, you see it from different perspective. Okay, so that's the process. You listen to Dharma, you meditate, eventually you'll progress naturally. That recipe that we give you has proven to be very successful the last 16 years. So you make progress, and then as you keep on working, you expand horizontally, and then when you're ready, when you have enough momentum, you make progress and you expand, and you make progress and you expand. That's your process. Our process is slightly different. Process for these people, the monks and nuns, are different. They have much narrower process, a much narrow channel where I push them up very quickly. Okay, and then because their lifestyle, we can afford to let them do that. Yours is different because you have commitment to your family, to your jobs, and so forth, to society. We don't. Okay, so that's why we can afford in our process. Now I learned from Master YongHua, learn how to do it, to push you through this narrower tunnel. Okay. So that you go up quickly. And then when you reach a certain level, then you expand. Okay? And the rationale is for that, okay, is that if you expand like this horizontally too quickly, too long, you get stuck. You get enamored with your red cars, with your airplane, your yachts, and your money, and your success, and your fame. Okay? Your comfort level and the things you enjoy. So that's why I prefer to push my students go up the chimney quicker and then let them expand later. And it makes us humble because even though we expand up here, we don't know what's going on down here. You see? So we up here, we expand, but we teach you, and now we learn about what's going on in your level, and the next level, and so forth. Am I making sense, huh, children? Now you know why. We push you differently. Sounds good? See, your problem is you do this your entire life. And you get stuck with that. Because people will keep on coming to you, your teacher will come to you, can you do more for me? Can you do more for me? Can you do more for me? Our process is different. Our process is, I want you to do more in order for you to go up, not in order for you to expand horizontally. You understand, Soju? Okay, that's the second question. What's the third question again?
First set of 3 questions is, I think you answered it already.
Okay.
And there's a remaining question.
Yes, go ahead.
One more question. This is about good knowing advisor. You emphasize about seeking a good knowing advisor.
Yes.
I am listening to your Dharma talk, and then I'm following your instructions, and then I'm sitting.
Yes.
Did I find my good knowing advisor?
Will you find a good knowing advisor?
Did I find my good knowing advisor?
I don't know. You tell me. Did she? Someone help her out? Did she find a good knowing advisor? Jane, don't answer that. You're opinionated. these questions are good, and it's a good thing that these people ask these types of questions, because it's important. The concept of finding a good no advisor is very Mahayana, very, very Mahayana. If you learn Mahayana at all, and the teacher doesn't tell you, go look for a good no advisor, it's low-level Mahayana or not Mahayana at all. My Mahayana I learned from Master Shenhua is that. He says that that's all I stuck in my mind. Find a good no advisor, okay? Draw near a good no advisor. That's a process of cultivation, okay? There's a secret all behind it. And all you have to do, that instruction right there is find good no advisor, okay? Always look for a good no advisor, meaning that if you found one, or you find one, you're still not happy, you're still not making progress quickly enough, okay? Or the teaching seems to be confused and so forth, then find the next one. That's what it means, okay? And again, look around, because like in the case of the fifth Patriarch, he look around his temple, he has 1,000 disciples, and the highest guy who is in charge who was a substitute teacher is speaking nonsense, teaching nonsense. Okay, that's alarming to me, that he will let someone of Sheng Xiu's, how do you say it again, Sangwuk Sunim? His name. You've been learning Chinese, right? From Apple of San Francisco. And he let a person like Sheng Xiu teach what Sheng Xiu know. That's alarming to me. He's teaching nonsense. At Sheng Xiu's level, he can really not interpret the Mahayana teaching properly at all. Okay, so that's alarming. Yeah, I would not. I would have frowned upon that. So you find good no advisor. As long as a good no advisor, you look around you and you see these people are improving and so forth, and better, higher level than you, and eventually you should get up there as well. Okay, if you're not, find the next one. That's all. It's ruthless. The Chinese are ruthless. If you're not making progress and they're not helping you, move on. You're making progress, and you are learning, then stick around. And that's, by the way, that's what Shakyamuni Buddha did as well himself. He looked for a teacher, and then he learned from the teacher to the point where he knew the teacher was no longer better than he was. So he moved on, and moved on, and moved on, until he found no one else who's competent enough to teach him. So he said, I will look at myself and find a different way to learn, because no one else can teach me. Okay, and so he meditated. That's what you're doing as well. You're meditating. All right? Okay, I have a few more minutes. Yeah. The other questions? The remaining two questions, remember?
No, that's it from her, Master.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Thank you.
James, 5 fingers.
Thank you very much, Master. So 2 or 3 related questions. Where do thoughts come from? Some thoughts are planted, in my case, into my head. But is there some other thoughts are not? That's one set of questions. The other is what's the relationship between thoughts and a neural network? Thank you.
Okay, number one, very easy. Number one, what are thoughts? Where did they come from? Who cares? Is the answer. If you sit there and analyze, this thought came from that, from which direction is this? Xian, what happened to you? He knows all these things. See, I don't even care which direction this is. Huh? Who cares where it comes from? You guys want to know too much. What you know there is not going to help you. It's for scholars like you who want to know everything and go impress your boss and ask for a raise and a promotion and more and so forth. Okay? We are not like that. We are more for pure knowledge, pure wisdom. It doesn't matter where they come from. Well, what I'm teaching you is how to handle those thoughts. Okay, and sometimes there are two kinds of thoughts as long as you're there. The kind of thoughts you can handle and the kind of thoughts you can't. You mean, are you listening? There's some thoughts that you can handle, some thoughts you cannot. Okay, the thoughts you can handle are the ones that the Chan practice will help you. And they cannot come back anymore. Okay? And this is for all of you, by the way, not for Jane or for Yumin. It is in general, the thoughts where in this natural Chan process of meditating and sitting there and listening to the Dharma and so forth and crossing your legs and enduring the discomfort and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting, okay? Those thoughts will come and you notice that some will come and then they fall off by the wayside naturally. It's because in that recipe we give you, the process we give you, the process you undergo, you will naturally resolve these thoughts. It doesn't matter where they come from. There's no need to understand where they come from. Okay? The same reason why I would teach my Sanghas to go up quickly, because this knowledge here is not important for their progress. You understand? My process is I want them to progress quickly up here, and then they learn up here. I don't want them to learn down here. I'm no interest. You understand? So that's why you keep on asking for more information. That doesn't help. I'm not interested in that. It's when you become a teacher and you want to write your papers and so forth, you can BS your way through life. Your colleagues will be impressed by that. Well, not us. Okay? That knowledge is not important to us. It's to impress people, to sell, to get more customers, to make more money. Let Warren Buffett do those things. We don't. Okay? We are more pure knowledge. Okay? Pure wisdom up here. Okay? I'm BSing, you know that. So anyway, doesn't matter. Only two kinds of thoughts. The thoughts that you can handle would naturally die by themselves as you go through this process. And there's the thoughts where you cannot handle, such as, for example, depression. Thought you say, I don't feel good. I feel so bad today. Or life is so bad. Life is so depressing. I don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like seeing people. I don't feel good about myself, about my life. And they keep on coming. Anyone have such thoughts? Me. Okay? And those are the thoughts that if they keep on coming like that and they get in the way your good life, you feel good about your life, enjoy your life, then that's when you need help. Okay? That's all you need to know. Whereas the rest, where they come from and so forth, who cares? I give you one example of why it doesn't matter where they come from. There's something called karmic retribution. The thoughts come because you deserve such thoughts. You ask for it. Okay? In the past, you did something stupid. And you look back in your past, you did so many stupid things. And that's why these thoughts now arise like crazy. Because it's your retribution to have those thoughts arise in your mind. So it doesn't matter. You don't need to pinpoint, that comes from the West, that comes from the East, comes from the North, from the South, from Vietnam, from, Korea or United States and so forth. It doesn't matter at all. Irrelevant. Just endure them. We're teaching you the thoughts. You don't care where they come from. What's more important is to endure them, and they will die. Don't get upset. This is thoughts. They're nothing. Okay? And the other thoughts is because also your retribution, but the other thoughts are detrimental to your progress. The other thoughts are like Jumi, who says, I don't like Master anymore. He's not nice to me anymore. I don't know what happened, but yesterday he smiled at me. Today he didn't give me a second look. And I don't know what I saw in him. I better get out of here. Okay. And those thoughts, all those negative thoughts of depression, thoughts of rejection, thoughts of judgment of others, they all lead you to one thing: quit, run away. Okay? And you should always, for those thoughts that keep on arising like that, right, Jumi? See, look at her. After all these years, she still feels like that. See that? They don't go away. All you have to do is endure them, ignore them, but don't fall into the trap. That is to run away. You run away, okay, you'll never be able to deal with those thoughts. If you stick around, naturally, those thoughts eventually will be dealt with. And they get lighter and lighter and more manageable, and then becomes interesting. You know, that's the trouble with those people who have these thoughts that they can't control, they cannot deal with, and they don't realize all those thoughts ultimately lead to one goal: for them to withdraw and run away from the protection, from the guidance. That's all. Good question. Second question was?
Second question is the relationship between thoughts and the neural network.
Who cares?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Time is up. Thank you, everyone. What time do I begin again? 7:30? 8:30? I have 2 hours? Oh, 1 hour.